to figure out, how do you do this without, destroying the artist, without destroying the artist's wife who was hiding this stuff, who came back from Europe a couple days after the car crash and found a document that was a whole bunch of paintings and inventory in Jackson Pollock's own handwriting, and look at it and say, what the F? Where the heck are all of these? And so it's anyway, it has to be done. I just really never thought I would be here.
Right.
So
So if people wanted to know more, they can actually come see some of the work in person this week at the LA Art Show. Correct?
today is we're doing this interview on the 10th, and the show starts on Wednesday, January 19th, and runs through Sunday for anybody, in the LA or West Coast. Awesome road trip. Omicron is really just the latest freaking hassle of all of this. But seeing the paintings in person is the best, strongest argument for their authenticity.
Right. And I know that you have a magnifying glass at
Oh yeah,
hand.
it's fun. It's totally fun. You would never get a chance to get up close and personal with these paintings like in a museum, like you would seeing them in the booth. The other thing is that www.wyomingworkinggroup.com, and you just have to type it in the Google search bar because we don't even have it distributed to search engines. But if you go to www.wyomingworkinggroup.com, the start of the story is there. Excuse me. And only in the last year have we put that up as kind of an informational tool. And because we're still trying to decide, what's better, a documentary, a book, a catalog, how do you do this? And literally the whole conversation started with a phone conversation between myself and Eugene Thaw in October of 2002, where I called up IFAR, International Fine Art Research, and just said, hey, I hear, the Pollock-Krasner Foundation is not doing authentication anymore. There's no Jackson Pollock Authentication Board. I'm trying to do some homework, and what do I do? And he said, well, send us $1,500 per painting and everything you know about it and all of the information, and we'll do a report. And then I said, which I probably shouldn't have, isn't it true, Mr. Thaw, that at least with respect to Pollock, that when you produce an authentication report, that the people writing the report don't have to sign their name? And doesn't that mean really that there's absolutely no accountability? And I said that word for word. And then there was this silence on the phone that seemed like forever. It's probably 10 seconds. And he was just like, well, it's one way to look at it. And that was it. And I wish, I had been more Dale Carnegie tactful at the time, because I think what we did there was tell him who the most recent person attempting to authenticate this large group of paintings was. Because the more, I have definitely evidence of them looking at and saying, we just don't know, from the 70s onward. So anyway, go and see. There's some story. There's paintings. There's some video, and it's great just to look at them because they really are remarkable. And by far, for anybody who's able to, and thanks for giving me this platform, because I want to partner with somebody and do a touring museum show. And the question is, do you call it the paintings from the 1956, MoMA show that you never saw, or the museum show that never was, something like that? That is, hey guys, look at this astounding work. For fans of Pollock, there are, definitely lots of people who are like, Pollock, schmollock, who cares? But for people who like Pollock, love Pollock, they're cool. I mean, you stood in front of them. They're pretty
Absolutely,
amazing.
they are. And I've seen my share of people who have tried to emulate drip paintings, and and that's one of the things they talk about. The first litmus test in whether a work is actually as authentic is a gut test, and that's the reason that
the blink test.
Yeah, the people who are immersed in a particular artist, they don't need the whole story. They can tell you right off the bat, this feels right, this looks right. And I'm not the world's biggest Pollock authority, but from my perspective, it's very, very compelling. And JT, I really appreciate you being willing to share your time this afternoon to tell your story, because I just hope that going forward we can find a path for you to break down some of those walls, because like I said earlier, if these are what we think they are, we owe it to Pollock to set the record straight so that people can appreciate the work the way his other work has been appreciated.
And because it adds to his life story, and it adds to his body of work in a good way. They're just flat out remarkable pieces, from the smallest little guys, which I think I have two that are 16 by 20 that I believe are some of the very first drip pour things he ever did on this artboard thing, with paint can circles on the back of them. I mean, there's as historical national treasure objects, but it's the big ones. This thing, C8, there's another one called C2, and all those are on the website where you can just pull up, and I'm going to be adding to that. But if you look, you can just see these trophy pieces that, as amazing as they look on screen, there's nothing like standing in front of these to make their own case. And as I always say in talking about this is a story about the paintings. Me, I'm just a guy. My wife, we're just, we're a photographer and a poet who do pretty good stuff from Lake Tahoe. And, that's our day job. But these things deserve the recognition. They deserve, the scrutiny that they're going to get, and for people to finally go, well, duh, of course they're Pollock. It's just a pain in the ass that the politics are so intense, and the market and everything else. But it kind of that's Pollock.
Right.
So.
Well, JT, I really appreciate your time, and I really do encourage people to check out your site and to get out there and see them in person if they ever have an opportunity. So next week, LA Art Show, if folks show up with a mask, they can come with a magnifying glass in hand and be a judge for themselves, right?
And at the end of the day, it's what Pollock said. He's like, I don't care about museums, curators. I just want people to look at my work. I want to enjoy it. And, that's how we present it. It's just simple, clean. It's like, here, that's just what you wanted. It didn't need a fancy place. But these paintings, would thrive in a fancy place, in the sense that, once it gets put together, a touring show of this around the world for a couple of years, I guarantee it will be one of the most highly attended art events and enjoyed. I mean, the fun thing, it's like, wow, it's just beautiful if you can just separate a little bit from the intensity of the politics, the money, the influence, the history. If you can separate a little bit from that and just enjoy them as a visual experience, they really, really are cool. And in closing, just want to say thank you for giving the paintings the platform and furthering, because it's a process, it's a discussion. So thank you for allowing us to further the discussions. And I look forward to future, talks with you and following this story.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, JT. That's all the time we have for this week. You've been listening to Art Sense. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe, and while you're there, please rate the show and leave a quick review. Your feedback is the key to other folks finding us. If you'd like to see images related to the conversation, read a transcript, and find other bonus features, you can go to cambia.art and click on the podcast tab. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can email me at craig@cambia.art. Thanks for listening.